Da 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 da! What's my good cheer? Welcome, everybody. Let's give YouTube a couple of minutes to get those notifications out. Let people know I've gone live. And in the meantime, if you've never met me before, I am Cindy. I explore the inside and the outside, and I was deep in it today. It was an amazing day. It was a day off that I didn't apply any restrictions or any chores or goals or anything to get done. Whatever I wanted to do today, I left it wide open. And what did I want to do? I wanted to sit and take lessons. Oh my goodness, even some of my top, we have that content that we like to go to. I call it like mixing the turnips in with the mashed potatoes, that sometimes, in order to get some of these heavy topics into the system, you have to take these little breaks. And you don't necessarily have to. I guess it's in our choices, right? But I find it helps me out so much, because I find if I stay in a line of content that I can get a little punch drunk with it, I can start slowing down in what I'm absorbing. And the reason I'm slowing down is because, right, I am getting distracted. I'm losing interest. And it's not because the topic is not interesting. It is because probably it's just a little bit longer than my attention span at that time can take in. So I have other kind of content that I like to delve in, especially if it's a content kind of day. I'm taking in lessons and stuff. I'm going to be home. There are my metal detecting videos. There's my bottle digging videos. There are my documentaries. There is my evolution. Oh my goodness, I was watching so much evolution today, watching a lot of content this week on the Neanderthals. I'm finding that I'm really interested in the way um, the Neanderthals moved, and also not only just how they moved, but in the reasoning as to why they became extinct, even though technically they're not extinct. Because, and to course correct myself, and not just course correct myself, but course correct the information that I'm shooting out to the world, I was saying that as humans, we have between 2 and 6% Neanderthal in us, but in all actuality, we have like 2 to 3%. So I just wanted to correct myself, and I don't know where I picked up that wrong information, but that's something that we have to be careful with, right? As we are working in the digital age, and as we're searching out answers and information on the things that we're working on or the things that we're dealing with, that we want to make sure that we're really feeling things out, that we're cross checking the information to make sure that we are getting that proper information that's suited for what we're looking for. You know what I mean? Like, not answers that run with a spectrum of different people, right? But our own residents with a subject. And I find a lot of times in the movement and a lot of the lessons that I take, everybody has a different perspective. We work with lots of different perspectives. I like different perspectives. The more perspectives, the better. The more perspectives is the evidence that people are finally having their voice and sharing these things that at one time they might have held dear, or because the digital age wasn't around, that maybe they kept it to themselves, or they couldn't express it enough that it spread far enough, right? In this digital age, we're this close right now. And I couldn't imagine a better time to wake up to some of these ideas that I've woken up to, and have like a smorgasbord of um, thought leaders out there that are sharing their ideas, and not just thought leaders, but these are actual, um, oh, how do you experiencers and experts in their interests and in their fields, and again, talking about taking in different perspectives. I know we got a word this week. I haven't forgotten. We've got this word connection, but it all kind of ties in, I think, because today I was taking in the lessons, and I was listening to these people, and you know I take in so many different ideas and so many lessons, and not just lessons from people I know, but people I've never heard of before, but because Google and YouTube is suggesting it, and because of they know me, they know what I'm searching out for content, they know the topics that I'm interested in, and I think they've gotten to know me a little bit, that they're able to suggest and get a feel of what I might need in the moment, right? And I would have to say that's pretty good connection there. And that's AI, isn't it? Those are bots floating around in the system and picking up on all this data that we're searching out and making assumptions based on that to serve us what they think we might be interested in. So lots of times you can look at that stuff and think it's serendipities and breadcrumbs and right, those little miracles that come across your path. But in all actuality, those probably are not, right? That's just data. That's just data and reading the I'm trying to express myself as the person taking in the content, right? Because we know that everybody's vying for attention, right? I'm sure if YouTube had its way, I would be sitting in my chair 24/7 just taking in the data, but also remembering that I could take in as much data as I could possibly take in, but I'm only going to resonate very minusculely, is that the word? The smallest amounts is what I'm going to resonate with, and not even take as my own, because it's really got to hit me upside the head and give me one of those moments for me to take it on immediately, but to take it on, to delve into it a little bit more. Okay, you guys, we're on this word, right? Connection this week and all day today. Let's go, oh, that's a good perspective to come at this word connection with. And all day I was doing that. I was taking notes and in between things and all these different ideas, and then I come in here and I'm thinking, connection. Well, we talked a little bit. It wasn't from getting this word connection, but we were talking about it a little bit last week, about that relationship with ourselves, that connection that we have with ourselves. And I have to say, in all honesty, in contemplation and in actually going back and putting myself into my own shoes, it was a big wake up call for me, right? Because you hear me talk about all the time, I got to be my best friend, my biggest cheerleader, right? Rah, rah, rah. Let's go, Cindy, right? We can do this, right? And then to actually really think about it and think about that connection that I had with myself, that, it's been with me for so long, riding alongside me through, right, the hairy, scary, through the wonderful, and through the wondrous of it all. And for the most part, I took it for granted, right? I didn't give it another thought. I didn't give it a consideration, right? And even through some of these ideas that I've grown into, right? As of recently, I have been paying attention to that relationship, but paying attention to it as in, well, I would have to say looking at it as something on the inside, but I'm almost looking at it as something that's on the exterior because it doesn't seem like it's part of the inside. It feels like it's now becoming part of the outside, that it is amalgamating, right? Even better. I'm saying even better because I understand that it's probably, right, been with me a long time, but I just haven't given it the time of day. Though I would like to say that I might have, right, taken into great consideration. But again, looking at it as, mm, I'm not going to say separate from me because I've never felt it as something separate from me. I always felt it like, Team Cindy. I kind of felt like that cheerleader, that best friend, that person or that thing or that, right, whatever it was, that it was the only thing that cared. It was the only thing that I had, and if I didn't have that, then I might not have had anything, right? And so when we talk about this word, which is our number 18th word, connection, I really do have to delve into that relationship that I have with myself, that relationship that I'm just starting to truly appreciate, but if I put myself in that those shoes, like I'm so grateful because I think that I might have survived some of my experiences because of that company, because of that consideration, and because of that relationship that I had, that I talk about. I wanted to be seen and I wanted to be heard. But what about those other parts of me that I wasn't even given an opportunity, right, to be seen or to be heard, and not wake up to any of these ideas or any of these considerations until well into my 50s? What kind of a ride did I put myself through? Right? And, I don't beat myself up with that because in the lessons I've got to appreciate, the effort. I've got to appreciate, you know, where I was at. I have to be able to bring that forgiveness to myself, right? Like I said, lots of times we move about through the the expectation or the directions of others, right? And we don't think that, we ourselves have directions that we want to go in, and ideas and perspectives on how we can move a little bit better, right? And when I say we, I mean we, right? But it's only in those connections that we make along the way. And I didn't even recognize the most important relationship that I should have been paying attention to, and that was the relationship with myself, that connection to myself. And I think it's, that indicator of, right, the possibilities for others, right, is in that recognition of that something else, those other parts of us, right? That recognizing of that contribution that we could have made, that we didn't have an opportunity to make because, right, we didn't even consider that that was even a possibility or something to consider, right? And that's the truth. I wasn't even Paying attention. I'm paying attention. I'm paying attention now, right? I have to say, be it better late than never, because I'm somebody who says we can't cry over spilt milk because there's nothing that I can do about it right now, being right. I'm 62 years old, but I'm going to tread water to the best of my abilities, right? And make up in the best ways that I possibly can for those skipped lessons, right? Those missed opportunities, that those conversations that I wasn't capable possibly of sitting in and understanding, or wasn't willing to sit in, right? And stay still. But I am a curious person, and I'm grateful that the lessons found their way somehow, right? And in any case, and maybe it wasn't all of them, but it was enough, right? It was enough to realize that there is a connection there, right? A connection that's worth delving into a little bit deeper, right? Not so deep that it takes me away from what I'm doing, and in that creation of the best human being that I possibly can be, that you know that it's only in these failings, right? It's only in these lessons that we miss, and then those lessons that we finally realize, right? And then in our choices, right? Because sometimes you could just say, well, it's kind of late, isn't it? let's let's just go on to next one. That was a missed one. Next time, right? Or just say better late than never. Like, what's this all about? Can we make a little bit of movement? Can I, right, move a couple of inches in my own evolution, right? And I do believe, sitting in the world right that we're sitting in right now, that, right, we are waking up to some of these incredible understandings, these incredible discoveries, right? These incredible opportunities. And we are actually waking up to them more and more and more because of this digital age. And I intend to take full advantage of this opportunity, right? This could all crash down on us. It really could, right? And all this information that's out there, maybe it could be lost. Maybe it won't be. Maybe it gets shot up to space. Maybe somebody finds a memory card somewheres and is able to regenerate even when we are long extinct, and a better version of ourselves is out there. But possibly, because we made decisions that maybe weren't to mankind's best potential, that somehow these memory discs were found, and somehow we're getting another shot at it, right? In that creation of the best human being we possibly can. You don't know, right? And there's a reason why we don't know, because we're not meant to know. And yet, right? We drive ourselves bonkos, right? We stress ourselves out. We take ourselves to places where we shouldn't be. And then we teach others how to do that, right? And I think that possibly, in my own thinking of, right, creating the best human being I possibly can be, that's what I'm going to be, because I'm human, right? This is my reality, right? And it might not be anybody else's reality, but, this connection that I have with myself indicates that this is my reality. And so, right, in connecting With others, I have to kind of move, right? I just keep moving forward, just keep taking in the lessons, just keep having the conversations, just keep interacting with what comes across my path, just keep resonating with that small, minute amount of information that does come across my path that I do resonate. And don't worry about the missed lessons. Don't worry about I came in too late, because where I'm going to get to is where I'm going to get to in the end. And because I'm creating the best human being I possibly can, right? That connection with myself is now recognized, and it won't be neglected, right? Not in this lifetime. And if I do this properly, right? Maybe not in the next. Cindy's not coming back, right? But I suspect that there are parts of me that will, right? That will. And even though, right, we take our lessons differently, that we absorb it differently and at a different pace, right? And in a different absorption, right? So different amounts. It's all movement. It's just a matter of just keeping going. And whatever I learned today, it's mine, right? It's mine. But if I didn't, right, I could choose to do something else. I could go for a walk. I could go visit my sisters, right? I could go to the bar. I could go gambling, right? Delving to those limiting beliefs that just make me, oh, I don't want to even move. I want to sleep and, right, stay in bed all day, lay on the couch with my remote control and not make any movement at all. Every little bit is just chalked up into that experience, and it just adds on to that comfortableness. Is that the word I'm looking for? Comfortableness, that closeness in that connection with myself, right? We're building trust. But before we can build trust with others, we have to build that trust with ourselves, especially if we've spent so much time in that neglect of that most important connection, right? That connection that we have with ourselves. And if we don't have that with ourselves, we should have that with ourselves. And I see so many people out there who've lost that love for themselves, that caring for themselves, right? I'm not coddling myself. I'm not coddling myself, because if I was, I would be on the couch with the remote control, right? I would be feeding those limiting beliefs. I wouldn't even be feeding, anything, right? Except those things that would help me cope from moment to moment. I'm moving towards something, and that's absolutely amazing. I'm really grateful for that opportunity to have my voice heard, right? To be seen and to be heard, and not only for my voice to be seen and to be heard, but those other parts of me, those connections, right? That I have to work on, right? And sometimes we're so focused on the connections out there, right? And if you're anything like me, right? Maybe we have all been, maybe we've all been neglecting those connections that we really should be paying attention to, right? Those connections that well, have been keeping us company, right? That been keeping us company. I'm grateful that you guys keep me company, right? But more importantly, that gratefulness for that company I've had all along, right? That possibly that, you know, in my own, what is this? My own, it's not limiting beliefs, it's not fears, It's my lack of paying attention. I'll take responsibility for that, right? My lack of paying attention, my lack of noticing, right? Right? And it's something I should have noticed decades ago. And it's not something that I did notice up until recently, right? All I can do is move forward. All I can do is tread the water the best that I can. All I could do is the healing, right? At the very least, maybe heal up an open wound if there is there. Offer up for some forgiveness for myself, right? And delve into it a little bit deeper, right? Get a little bit closer, right? See what kind of damage was actually done and what there is that we can do in that repairing of that most important connection, because it is. Okay, you guys, I think I'm going to leave it at that, give it a little bit more contemplation, because I didn't think I was going to talk about that, because I had different aspects of connection, but it's what came to the surface, so that's what we worked with, and that's what it is. You guys have a great night, and we'll see each other tomorrow. Bye bye.